Stupid is being nice. You're an absolute moron.
Huh?
Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
5 brain cells, 4 aren't working. Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains? You know, that's just one step above stupid. Did you hear what I said? You know, that's just one step above stupid.
Huh? It's a house!
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Hello everybody, how the hell's it going tonight? Yeah. Alright, well, like I said last night, we're going to go over that wiki. Maybe after we go over the wiki, if we get through the whole Wikipedia thing, we'll maybe do members only live stream, because I actually have the Uber driver audio file interview in the Idaho 4 case. You know, the Uber driver that picked up Kaylee and Madison. I thought that would have been pretty interesting. I was the only one to actually try to get that. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to talk to the last person outside of the house to see them alive. You know, but so I do have that. Yeah, so maybe we can switch over to members only. Yeah, it looks like my audio is really low. There we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. There we go. A little better. Yeah, it was at 50% for some reason. There's no rhyme or reason why or anything like that. But don't forget, you guys, tonight's another night. I need you guys to help support the channel. No, it doesn't matter what night it is. It's always nice when, you know, right out of the gate, there's some support where you feel like, okay, we got some momentum going. So if you have the ability to, that would be awesome. If not, hit that like button. Do something, for God's sakes. Yeah. Alright, let's see. Well, anyways, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to... Let's see. We're going to go over the Wikipedia version of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's really long. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do they have in there? You know, I'd like to look at it to see, you know, what, you know, because Wikipedia is where people look a lot. So you sort of wonder, like, what's their story? What are they telling? Earlier today, I put out the Toby Lesenby document regarding, it was like an audio file of the deposition that he did, you know, after Richard Allen was arrested. So it's I think it's pretty interesting. Anyways, a lot of people didn't watch that one either, so we just need to get the views going. I don't know what's happening on, you know, maybe people just aren't interested at all in the files or whatever in the Delphi case, but I've found them pretty interesting, especially since, you know, it seems like they still, even, you know, after, quite a ways after Richard Allen was arrested, still were thinking that Keegan Kline somehow might be involved. He'd even been through the trial and everything. His own trial. and they just couldn't find anything. And so I just think that means it was analog. You know, like it was just, hey, thanks, Dixie, hippie. All right. That's something out of the gate. Okay. Does it matter if you're from Indiana? I don't really know what that means. You know, I've been covering the case since the night they were missing. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. It says, Happy Friday, Gray and Freaks. How's it going there, Sandy Shirley? Well, every time I cover a case and it's in a state, people say, "Oh, I live in that state." And it's like, okay, did you live close to the crime scene, or it makes it easier for you to travel for sure. But let's see. Yep, LOC Daily, Bruce Holdaway, Sandy Shirley, Wild Bill Lossman. Look at that. He's got the blue. He's here every single night. He seems like he's nice to everybody, etc. So there you go. And plus we don't, like, some mods that we have aren't here very often, so it's good to have some extras. And why, other guys too. We don't have very many guys that are moderators. You know what I'm saying? But hey guys, here we are. We're in another night, so we're gonna go over the Wikipedia article. But we need to get some momentum going on here. Last night sort of made up a little bit of the night before because it was sort of just a normal good night. So you don't want to have another bad one directly after we kind of recovered. All right, so here we go. Let's see, it says on September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk, an American right-wing political activist, was assassinated while addressing an audience on the campus of Utah Valley University, UVU, in Orem, Utah. You know what I could do is I could play this thing and then pause it and we can talk about it. Look how long it is to read it. 53 minutes. That's crazy. I mean, let me just see how that would go if I did that.
Assassination of Charlie Kirk. On September 10th, 2025.
I don't know if I like the voice. What if we did, we could do Gwyneth Paltrow. I always like this George. He's pretty good.
September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk, an American right-wing political activist, was assassinated while addressing an audience on the campus of Utah Valley University, UV.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we do it? Hello? Yeah, I like George. Let's do it. That way I can just pause it or something.
UVU in Orem, Utah, United States. The outdoor event was the first stop of the fall 2025 season for the American Comeback Tour, a speaking and debate series planned by Turning Point USA, a conservative youth organization that he co-founded. Kirk was fatally shot in the neck while engaging with an audience member about mass shootings in the United States by a sniper on the roof of a building, approximately 142 yards, 130 meters away from him. The next day, 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson surrendered himself to the local sheriff. Prosecutors charged Robinson with murder on September 16th and announced they would seek the death penalty, alleging the attack was politically motivated. 234. The assassin.
I don't think, was it the next day that he turned himself in? I thought it was the 12th. Like, didn't he, like, the picture of the person came out on the 11th, and then I wouldn't think he would have turned himself in until the next day, on the 12th, because he drove home on the 11th.
Assassination was highlighted as an instance of increasing political violence within the United States and was condemned by national and foreign leaders. Video footage of the shooting spread rapidly on social media, and reactions ranged from heartfelt messages expressing anguish about the political climate to sharply partisan comments and celebrations of his death. 5, 6, 7 President Donald Trump, members of the Republican Party, and other conservative figures blamed members of the Democratic Party and left-wing or liberal beliefs before a suspect was in custody or a motive was identified. 8, 9.
Well, it turns
The
out it
Trump
was
administration called for a crackdown against what it called political extremism on the left, 10, 11, 12, 13, which was widely criticized by free speech advocates and legal experts as using the assassination as a pretext to silence political opposition. 14, 15.
No, it's not a pretext to anything. It was just stating the fact that when you have a political party, especially one that has so many delusional people in it, when you say stuff like, oh, he's like Hitler, he's a fascist, what are those lunatics that you have in your party going to do? You know, the ones with the purple hair and they don't know what they are, those type of people. Now, they might go out and actually do something. You know, that's the problem when you tell people that somebody is like Hitler. They think they're going to be a hero by removing somebody that's like Hitler. So it's true. See, this is already, you can tell it's already kind of slanted a little bit.
Opposition. 14, 15, 13,
Thanks,
11.
LK.
A campaign by right-wing organizations and U.S.
Wild
government
Bill
agencies
Wasserman.
resulted in mass firings and disciplinary actions against people seen as celebrating Kirk's death or making critical comments about him in the aftermath of the assassination. 5, 16.
Yeah, but people celebrating his death are vile human beings. What, like if you can't at least be like, man, that's terrible. And just shut the hell up after that. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, they always say, but, right after that, but. It's just the stupidest thing ever.
Assassination. 5/16, Kirk's memorial service was held at State Farm Stadium on September 21st. Background. Charlie Kirk was an American right-wing political activist, author, and media personality, known for co-founding and serving as CEO of Turning Point USA. 1718, a close ally of U.S. President Donald Trump. Kirk utilized his skills in social media and campus organizing to become a highly influential figure in the MAGA movement. 1920, described as something of a kingmaker by the New York Times, and as a youth whisperer by The Guardian, Kirk was able to rally support to protect embattled Trump cabinet nominees and against Republican Party figures he deemed insufficiently supportive of Trump. 2122, The Washington Post described him as one of the most prominent voices on the right in recent years. 23, Axios described Kirk as a driving force in Trump's presidential campaigns.
I don't know if you guys would be interested, but maybe we could do something like if we get to $500, I'll donate $500. Let's see. Yeah, I'll donate $500 to RAIN, which would mean I'm doing 150. And also, those same trolls that we always talk about. They're saying, so when I donate 5 memberships, yeah, I mean, obviously when I send the it's obvious, right? Like when I buy memberships, obviously part of the income comes back to the channel. I don't think anybody's that stupid, right? However, YouTube gets its 30%, and then I get taxed on the portion too. So for example, if I spend $25 buying memberships, what happens is after YouTube gets 30%, it's probably like $18 or something, right? Maybe 6, who knows? And then you get taxed on that. You end up with 12. So every time I buy memberships, it's probably a net loss of $12, something like that. It's just good to buy memberships. But I don't know if you guys are interested, if you want to. I mean, these people are crazy, delusional people who sit around going, ooh, wow, ooh, 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 look what Grace says. Everybody, it's obvious to everybody. They think it's like somebody's trying to hide something. When the month starts, you get to give away 10 free ones YouTube gives us as the creators of our channels. And then everyone after that costs money to give away. All right. So is anybody interested tonight in doing what I just said? If we get to, well, maybe I'll even just say if we get to 400, I'll donate 500, which is literally $500. And all I would get back on the channel is $280. So I'd be spending $240. All right. Anybody interested in that? Doesn't seem like it. Hey, thanks, Chris Stew.
Campaigns. Kirk's Kirk's assassination occurred during a period of deepening division and increasingly frequent violence in American politics. 25, 26, 27. It followed a series of violent political incidents, including the June 2025 shootings of 2 Democratic Minnesota legislators and their spouses. The May 2025 killing of 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
The April 2025 arson attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. The December 2024 killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The assassination attempts on Trump in July and September.
Who are the people cheering for Luigi Mangione? You know who those people are? Liberals. Okay, those aren't Republicans.
September 2024. 27:36. At a campaign event in Kentucky with Nate Morris in June 2025, Kirk himself spoke about the potential for violence. He told the crowd, "We're on the front lines where it's not always safe." 37. Turning Point USA announced on August 27 that Kirk would be visiting several college campuses during September-October 2025 as a continuation of a speech and debate series titled The American Comeback Tour, which began in February. 38-39. Kirk's appearance at UVU was scheduled to be the first tour stop of the season. 18. Kirk had previously visited UVU in 2019 for a Turning Point USA event which he hosted with conservative political commentator Candace Owens. A petition was circulated calling on the university to cancel his tour appearance, but university officials permitted the speech, citing free speech and open discussion policies. 41. Security was provided by 6 police officers and Kirk's private security personnel. 42-43. Although the event was ticketed, the ticketing was not enforced. Metal detectors were not used for entry to the event. Timeline of the assassination. Officials stated the suspected gunman arrived on campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at 8:29 a.m. MDTU T6 showed that he was dressed differently than he was around the time of the shooting.
Security cameras.
Investigators said that the suspect reappeared on video at around 11:50 a.m. when he moved through a grassy area into a parking lot just north of the campus. 45. He was wearing a black shirt with a United States flag at its center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. 47. At 11:53 a.m., he stopped at the top of some stairs and pulled out his phone before proceeding down into a pedestrian tunnel. 45. Still images released by the FBI show him ascending a stairwell in a parking garage adjacent to the tunnel. 45. The speaking event began at noon 48 with about 3,000 people in attendance. 49. Authorities said the suspected gunman was seen at 12:02 p.m. walking on the north side of the Lucy Center, where they said he would later shoot Kirk from the roof. 45. Kirk appeared at the event at about 12:09 p.m. and started throwing hats into the crowd. 49. Then, at 12:11 p.m., he began speaking. According to an affidavit, the suspect entered...
You know what's interesting is maybe he... so if 12:09 is when he started throwing stuff, do you think... It seems like Tyler Robinson was in the Losi building and then hid inside there until he knew Kirk was on this, out there throwing hats. And then, I mean, don't you find it sort of interesting that at 12:15 when he goes up there, Kirk has really only been sitting on the stage for 4 minutes or so. He knew, while he was inside the Losi Center building from 12:03-ish to 12:15, he must have figured out that he was sitting down at that point. And then he went up and did it. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it. Hey, thank you, Allie Cake. And C. Daly, who lives in Indiana. And by the way, I always say that to everybody. Whenever you do a case and somebody goes, "Oh, I live in there," I was like, wow. It's pretty funny. To me, anyways. And also, I don't remember who it was yesterday, but I felt bad after the show. There was some kind of regarding donating to a specific charity. The trolls out there have made me sort of jaded, they're always, I remember at one point they actually called the charities that I donate to. And the charities actually let me know who their names were and everything because they were like, "Man, we love what you do. Thank you." Okay. So we got all that. It's all documented, stored in a folder for future use. And then, so I always feel like when anybody says something like, "Hey, who do you donate to and stuff. I always feel like they're trolling. You know, I always feel like that. That's my initial thought, was that it's regarding trolling. Like they're literally trying to, ooh, you know, who are you donating to? I picture it that way. And I think that's just because of all the crap that I've been, you know, dealing with for 5-6 years. But, you know, the thing is asking that is, there's no problem with that at all. So, you know, it's my fault. They're just asking like, hey, have you donated to this one? And I should have said, no, I haven't. Tell me about it. That's how I should have sounded, but I didn't. I get immediately defensive because of these dipshit trolls literally have just gone out and done that stuff. Like, what have they ever done for anybody, these trolls? Nothing. Okay? My channel's made a huge difference out there, not only on YouTube in terms of putting out the factual information, but most of all in all the organizations we've donated money to in the last 6 years. I don't think there's anybody that's even close, okay, on YouTube doing that. So there you go. And by the way, if you want to help support the channel tonight, that'd be great. So we can, you know, if we get to, I'll just say 400 tonight, then I'll donate 500 to RAIN, which is Violence Against Women. I'm not have that one open. Let's see if I'm on this one. That Wheel of Name. All right, I think I'm going to do that tonight again too. So we'll do another spin on here. Let me go up to the top. So if you send if you do a membership, gifted membership, you also, you get like a pie wedge.
Imagine he could hear Charlie speaking from his location and therefore knew when to get into position.
Yeah, he either could hear him or he was communicating with somebody or listening, watching updates somewhere on a page, you know. Don't really know. I mean, it's kind of obvious there was something. I mean, he was right there. I'm just putting these in on the sheet over here. Yeah, my channel doesn't make other than when there's a huge case and my videos are ones that people are watching. It doesn't. The income coming in from YouTube ad revenue stuff is almost non-existent. You know, this month so far it's like $300 or something. I mean, it's just been a disaster. So the entire income comes from you guys who are supporting the channel while you're watching it. And that's it. Other than that, there is absolutely nothing. See, Alley Cake. You got 4 of them. All right. There we go.
Entered the Lucy Center from the southeast side and was seen ascending the stairs next to the building 13 minutes later. 45,
Yeah, so 13
the stairs connected with a public walkway adjacent to the roof, and surveillance video showed the suspect.
Here's what we could do. I could zoom in on it. Go down to it. All right, let's just, I'm going to go back up a little bit.
The speaking event began at noon 48 with about 3,000 people in attendance. 49 authorities said the suspected gunman was seen at 12:02 p.m. walking on the north side of the Lucy Center, where they said he would later shoot Kirk from the roof. 45 Kirk appeared at the event at about 12:09 p.m. and started throwing hats into the crowd. 49 then, at 12:11 p.m. he began speaking.
Wow.
According
crazy.
to an affidavit, the suspect entered the Lucy Center from the southeast side and was seen ascending the stairs next to the building 13 minutes later. 45, the stairs connected with a public walkway adjacent to the roof, and surveillance video showed the suspect crossed a railing from the walkway onto the roof at about 12:15 p.m. 47, he disappeared from view for a short time before running across the roof, then crawling into the suspected shooting position. 47 investigators said that by 12:22 p.m., the suspected shooter was in position on the roof, lying on his stomach facing the location where Kirk was speaking about 430 feet, 130 meters away. 40. Sitting under a tent displaying the tour title, Kirk engaged in a back-and-forth discussion with Hunter Kozak, a UVU student, about mass shootings in the United States. 50-51-52. Kozak asked, "Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?" To which Kirk responded, "Too many." 53. Kozak followed up with, "Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? And Kirk's last words before being shot were his reply, "Counting or not counting gang violence?" To which then Kozak said, "Great," with Kirk immediately being struck after. At 12:23:30 p.m., Kirk was shot in the neck.
Yeah, I have 12:23:28. That's what I came up with. So just like that, hit him in the neck from the shooting position.
Neck with a single bullet, which investigators believed had came from the roof of the Lucy Center. 46. Emma Pitts, a Deseret News reporter who witnessed the event, told NPR, "I just saw so much blood come out of the left side of Charlie's neck, and then he went limp." 52. Former U.S. Representative Jason Chaffetz, who was in attendance, said, "As soon as the shot went out, everybody hit the deck, and everybody started scattering and yelling and screaming." 43. At 12:23:55 p.m., 6 men carried Kirk to an SUV, which took him to Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem, 49:43:56, where he was later pronounced dead. 57. His death was announced by Donald Trump at 2:40 p.m. on Truth Social. 58. Video footage also surfaced of the suspected shooter running from the south corner of the Lucy Center roof, where he purportedly shot Kirk, to the north corner, where the ground was higher and he could hang from the edge of the roof and drop to the ground, which occurred at about 12:24 p.m. 48 palm prints were later...
Yeah, I don't know if that's legitimate. Where the ground is higher. It's not really. I mean, it's flat here, but then it raises up over in this area. But over here, the ground isn't higher where he jumped. That's just somebody trying to put something in there. It's absolutely nothing. That's bullshit, okay? When the person jumped off, the ground is not higher here than it is over here, for example. It's the same thing. You know, like that is 68, 52. 68, 52. Same thing. Same difference, 16 feet, all right? So that's just somebody trying to pretend that they're super sleuthy, coming up with some, "Oh my God, he jumped and it's higher there. What a creative," you know.
Later found at the edge of the roof, as well as smudges from which samples were collected to look for DNA evidence. A footprint was found on the ground.
Here, I'll go back.
At 12:23:55 p.m., 6 men carried Kirk to an SUV, which took him to
Just as
Timpanogos
he's
Regional
jumping off the
Hospital in
roof.
Orem, 49:43:56, where he was later pronounced dead. 57. His death was announced by Donald Trump at 2:40 p.m. on Truth Social. 58. Video footage also surfaced of the suspected shooter running from the south corner of the Lucy Center roof, where he purportedly shot Kirk, to the north corner, where the ground was higher and he could hang from the edge of the roof and drop to the ground, which occurred at about 12:24 p.m. 48 palm prints were later found at the edge of the roof, as well as smudges from which samples were collected to look for DNA evidence. A footprint was found on the ground, which showed he was wearing Converse sneakers. He then moved into a wooded area north of the campus, where a rifle with a scope on top and containing inscribed bullet casings was later found. According to police audio, the first report of the shooting occurred at 12:26 p.m. 60. At 12:31 p.m., an officer then reported gunshots heard near the library. At 12:35 p.m., the officer added maybe the CS building, before describing the suspected shooter as wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle.
He didn't have a mask.
A minute later, the officer elaborated, on top of the building on the far north side, just east of the library. 60. A UVU police officer was the first to investigate the suspected shooting position on the roof of the Lucy Center. 47. At 12:39 p.m., FBI agents and chiefs of police of the location. At 1:37 p.m., the university closed the campus and urged everyone to leave. 61. At 2:01 p.m., the university instructed those remaining on campus to secure in place until police officers can escort you safely off campus. 62 classes and activities at all campuses, including satellite locations, were suspended until September 15th.
I know this is reading, you guys, but is there any way we can not have massive lulls tonight? so I don't have to ask 1,700 times if we can try to reach the goal. That'd be awesome. So if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. Maybe buy some channel memberships for other people if you can. That'd be great.
September 15th, 6364. Manhunt. The Utah Department of Public Safety was investigating the crime with the assistance of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF-65. 2 people were arrested soon after the shooting but were later released. 66. One was a libertarian conservative who was arrested on campus grounds after claiming to have shot Kirk. 67. He later told police he was glad he said he shot the individual so the real suspect could get away. 68. He reportedly had a history of mental health issues and was known to Utah authorities for his habit of disrupting public events. He was taken to a hospital. 68. After his release on September 14th, he was admitted into jail for obstruction of justice. After police discovered images of child sexual abuse on his phone, he was also charged with sexual exploitation of minors. Hours after the shooting, FBI Director Kash Patel announced on social media that the subject in Kirk's assassination had been apprehended. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said that a person of interest had been detained. Within 2 hours of making his initial announcement, Patel said that the subject had been released after an interrogation by law enforcement.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Membership challenge. If we can get 5 gifted. Where's the challenge? Oh, you're doing it? Who's doing the challenge? Wild Bill Wassman? So mean. What do you mean so mean? Let's see. Membership challenge. Okay, if you guys can give 5 memberships, Wild Bill Wassman will gift 5. Okay, it has to be the gifted 5 memberships. Welcome, Phoebes. Unless you join as an Oogle Boogle Freak, I'll count that. But we got to do, if you guys can gift 1 membership out there a piece and then get up to 5 of them, then Wild Bill Wassman will donate 5 himself.
Enforcement. 76.6. Law enforcement recovered an older make Mauser-type bolt-action hunting rifle, which was chambered in a wooded area near the shooting, from a wooded area near the cartridges, and a footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
And screwdriver.
74.75. In a press conference on September 11th, officials said that they had good video footage and were applying facial recognition technology to it. 74.73. Later...
Well, there's Dixie Hippie. You did all 5 by yourself. Look at that. All right, hold on. Got to throw that in there.
Later that day, the FBI indicated that facial recognition efforts had been unsuccessful, released photographs of a person of interest, and offered up to $100,000 for information in the case. 77.75.
Yeah, see,
the
that was
FBI
September
also
11th.
investigated various social media accounts with posts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination. The investigators reported that cartridges found in the rifle were inscribed with various messages, which were rumored to be slogans relating to anti-fascist and transgender ideology, but were described as a mix of internet memes and popular culture. After an FBI briefing on September 12th revealed the messages. The spent cartridge case was inscribed with notices bulges. Oh, what's this? A reference to furry online roleplay. 79. 3 unfired rounds were engraved with "Hey Fascist, Catch." The arrows referring to a sequence of inputs,
see?
code, used to summon a 500...
And by the way, listen. Doesn't that just prove to you right there that that's exactly what it was? He puts, "Hey Fascist, Catch." Well, why did he think Charlie Kirk was a fascist or anybody? That's because the left and the media, the media really, has been telling people that, Trump and people who follow him are fascist. It's just absurd, okay? And by the way, did you guys see BBC, what they did today? Or not today, but they put out a documentary, and in the documentary, they edited out like 50 minutes of, or I don't know if it was 50 minutes or a whole bunch of time, and they made it seem like Trump said, "Let's all march to the Capitol and fight, fight, fight," And he didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. They edited it that way, and BBC had to apologize, but they don't want to pay any sort of defamation, and they should. They absolutely should. It's sick what they do. It's just crazy the way they word things. It's the same thing that they do all the time and it's weird. It's like, what's the reasoning for it, you know? Nobody even knows it. Well, he's trying to get money, sue. He might sue, because BBC should. They tried to, and that documentary was put out just before the election, trying to convince people not to vote for him with lies again. Pretty scary shit, man. Well, thank God for Dixie Hippie, because not one other soul gifted a membership. It was just, she got all 5 of them. Thank you.
500 kilograms bomb in the 2024 video game.
Thanks, Wild Bill.
Helldivers 2, Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao.
Yeah.
A reference to the Italian anti-fascist song, Bella Ciao, Goodbye, Beautiful. And if you read this, you are gay LMAO. 798081. The song Bella Ciao remains widely known as an anti-fascist anthem, however. It had also resurfaced in popular media since the mid-2010s and early 2020s, through the television series Money Heist and the video games Hearts of Iron 4 and Far Cry 6. 82, 83, 84.
That was a good game.
During the manhunt, law enforcement agencies reportedly received more than 7,000 leads related to the incident and conducted more than 200 interviews. On September 16, 2025, FBI Director Kash Patel faced questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee about the investigation and criticism for his social media posts about it. He said that over 20 users on a Discord discussion group that included the alleged shooter would be investigated. 85 Patel had previously faced criticism for his leadership and handling of the case from federal and local officials, with particular focus on his social media post on the day of the shooting that a suspect was in custody, a statement which he retracted 90 minutes later.
Yeah.
The hearing escalated into a shouting match after California Senator Adam Schiff questioned Patel on why the FBI transferred child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell to a less...
Did you guys ever hear that one? That was amazing. Kash Patel Adam Schiff has no business ever trying to explain to anybody anything at all. I don't know how he's in office after the crap that he pulled. Just unbelievable.
Lesser security prison. Patel called Schiff the biggest fraud in the U.S. Senate, a disgrace, an utter coward, and a political buffoon. 86, the hearing led to bipartisan criticism of Patel, and came after a considerable upheaval at the agency under Patel's leadership that involved widespread reassignments, firings, and loyalty tests. The shooting also occurred hours after a lawsuit by former FBI agents accused Patel of a politically motivated purge of agency leadership. 87. Accused. Tyler James Robinson, born April 16, 2003, is an American accused of being the shooter. 47. The day after the shooting, his parents convinced him to come to their residence in Washington, Utah, after they recognized his likeness from news images that authorities alleged were of the shooter. 88, 89. Robinson told them he was fearful of being shot by police or a SWAT team being sent to his parents' house. 90. His parents contacted a member of their LDS congregation who was a retired detective who had previously worked for the Washington County Sheriff. 91. The retired detective called the sheriff and made arrangements for Robinson to surrender. 91. He and Robinson's father then drove Robinson to the sheriff's office the evening of September 11th, and Robinson was taken into custody without incident. 91, 92, Governor Spencer Cox said the next day that Robinson was the only suspect. 93, 94, the manhunt had lasted 33 hours. 92, 95, Robinson, son of...
So that means after the shooting, he stayed overnight, apparently, maybe he slept in his car, who the hell knows, but... And then on the 11th, they had a press conference and they put out those images, and then the parents saw those, and then that's what led to them turning in him the same night as those images, I guess. So it wasn't the 12th.
Son of a social worker and a business owner, was raised in Washington, Utah. Robinson's family are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Robinson's grandmother said most of the family did not know a single Democrat. 101 childhood photographs show the Robinson family on trips to shoot guns and see weapons displays. 102. At the time of his arrest, Robinson was living in St. George, Utah, some 240 miles 390 kilometers southwest of Utah Valley University. 103. 104. He was in his third year of an electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College. 105. He had previously enrolled at Utah State University but dropped out after one semester. 105. He graduated from Pineview High School in 2021. 106. while earning college credit from Dixie State University from 2019 to 2021. 105. Investigators interviewed Robinson's roommate, who was not considered a suspect. 102. And was described as being aghast and shocked by the shooting, and denied having any knowledge of the crime. 107, 108, 102. Governor Cox said that the roommate had been very cooperative with investigators. 108. And had turned over private messages incriminating Robinson, which discussed the need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. 109. The messages also referenced a scope and engraved bullets. 109. After the shooting, someone in a private Discord group chat, of which Robinson was a member, said that Robinson looked like the man in the suspect images released by the FBI. Robinson reportedly joked that he had a doppelganger who was trying to frame him, that the group should give him a cut of the FBI, reward money for turning him in, that he would avoid going to McDonald's, a reference to Luigi Mangione, who was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, for allegedly killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and that he would get rid of his manifesto and rifle. 110, 102. Another recovered message, posted later the same day, read, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I am sick, sorry for all of this. I am sick, surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been so amazing. Thank you all for everything." 111. A friend in the Discord group wrote the next morning that the confession appeared to be true, while also calling for prayers, both for Robinson's repentance and for Kirk's family. 111. Discord later suspended Robinson's account. 112. On September 15th, the FBI announced that Robinson's DNA matched that found on a towel that was wrapped around the suspected rifle, and on a screwdriver found on the roof from where the shot was fired.
That's crazy.
113. Utah County prosecutor.
I mean, I don't know if they found right where it was the shot came from. It was found on the roof. You know, I would think it most likely would have fallen out. You would think where he, assembled the rifle again, right? Like when he was right here in this location, you would think he would have, when he was assembling it right there, that's where it would come out. But I guess you could also argue that in those 5 minutes, he probably would have made sure of that, but then it was over here. Maybe a zipper was open of, the backpack or whatever, and it fell out. And then he made his way over to here, running across and then jumping down, then into the woods right there. But hey, guys, any chance you guys can help support the channel? We're way behind again. We need to get to, if you guys want to do the rain, I wanted to donate $500 to Rain tonight for the, it's the Violence Against Women charity that we donate to. They sent me an email. We hadn't given sent money to them in a while, so that would be cool. But we just have these massive lulls here tonight. Like I said at the beginning, I don't want to be stuck in a position where I have to keep asking over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you guys could just come together as a group and try to get us there, that would be awesome. All you guys have to do is 400, and then I'll do 500, which means 220 extra from me. All right, thank you. And that's probably going to sound like this in my head in about 2 seconds. It's going to go like this. All right, where is that?
Prosecutor Jeffrey Gray said that Robinson's mother told investigators that her son had become more political over the last year and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. 88. Robinson was registered to vote but not affiliated with any party, and there is no record of him voting in Washington County. 114. Robinson had no criminal record prior to his arrest. On September 14th, Governor Cox said that Robinson had very different political views than those of his conservative family and adhered to leftist ideology. 116, 117, 118, although he did not provide specifics. 119. According to Cox, Robinson appeared to have become radicalized after dropping out of Utah State University and may have been influenced by aspects of internet culture. Cox also said that one of Robinson's relatives had told investigators that during a family dinner, Robinson had expressed dislike of Kirk and discussed his upcoming visit to Utah Valley University. 96, while Trump and other elected Republicans have alleged Robinson was connected to left-wing groups and threatened a crackdown on them. Sources familiar with the investigation stated that, as of September 21, update no such evidence had been found. 121. On September 16th, Gray stated that the suspect had become increasingly concerned about gay and trans rights, and that he had grown apart from his family's conservative views, citing Robinson's relationship with his transgender roommate as a factor. Gray further outlined details of text messages that the prosecution believes Robinson sent to his roommate, which stated that he had been planning the shooting for just over a week. When the roommate asked why Robinson had done it, he answered, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." 188, according to ABC News, the charging documents did not indicate the relevance of those stances, or whether Kirk's remarks about those issues were a motivating factor, and reported Gray said he would let a judge determine whether the statements allegedly made constituted a confession. 1. Legal proceedings. After his arrest, Robinson was transferred to Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork, where a judge ordered him held without bail. 122. He made his first court appearance by video feed on September 16 before Judge Tony Graff in the Utah County Justice Court in Provo. 95, 123, 124. Graff read Robinson the charges, 125, which included 1 count of aggravated murder, 1 count of felony discharge of a firearm, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and 1 count of violence committed in the presence of a child. 47. Utah state prosecutors announced that they would seek the death penalty. 3-4. Citing aggravating factors, Robinson allegedly targeted Kirk for his political expression and had acted knowing children would witness the assassination. 2. On September 24th, Salt Lake City attorney Catherine Nestor was appointed to defend Robinson. 126. On 29 September, Nestor asked the judge for more time to review the large amount of evidence in the case before deciding if the defense would seek a preliminary hearing. 127. On October 24, a judge heard arguments over whether Robinson could wear civilian clothes and appear unrestrained during future court appearances. The defense argued that Robinson appearing in a prison uniform would undermine his right to a fair trial. 128. On October 27th, the judge ruled that Robinson could wear civilian clothes, although citing security concerns. The judge also ruled that Robinson would have to remain physically restrained. 129. The judge did prohibit members of the media from photographing or filming Robinson's restraints. 129. On November 5th, following a motion from the prosecution to limit media coverage in the courtroom while Robinson was present, a number of media organizations, spearheaded by the Salt Lake Tribune, and including the New York Times, CNN, the Associated Press, and Fox News, filed a motion asking the court to notify them of any future requests to limit access to proceedings. 130. Erica Kirk, Kirk's widow, supported the media's request, saying that there have been cameras all over me. We deserve to have cameras in there. 131. Robinson's next court appearance is scheduled.
Who said that? Oh, look at that, you guys. If you guys do $50, Lisa Valenzuela will do a coffee. I mean, a $50 coffee. So it's up to you guys. It can be anything. 10 memberships would be equivalent. Okay? So either way.
Scheduled for January 16th, 2026. 130.
You can double it up.
Aftermath. Following Kirk's assassination, Republican government officials at the state and federal level called on the public to turn in anyone who made statements about the assassination that were considered inappropriate or distasteful. The campaign later broadened to also include statements that were critical of Kirk. 16. The New York Times has described the campaign as morphing into a conservative version of cancel culture.
Yeah, not really. Like when it's not at all. You know, like if you're the thing is, these people didn't attack Kirk in a way that was, they did it in a way almost to try to justify what was done to him. That's what they did. Okay. There was no grace period or anything like that. But did you guys see what Lisa Valenzuela did there? She said if you guys do 50, she'll do 50. All right, there we go. Alley Cake again. I mean, geez, thanks, Alley Cake. But come on, how about the rest of you guys take the, help Alley Cake out a little bit. My God. It's like every day she's the one that goes, hey, Gray, here we go. It's like, but I don't know. Thanks, Alley Cake. You're sort of like a savior a lot of nights. Those are 5. We need 5 more, you guys.
Culture. 132. On September 15th, the Trump administration threatened a widespread crackdown of liberal groups and donors, asserting that a network of liberal organizations promoted violence and would be dismantled. Trump stated he was looking into labeling some terrorist organizations, and Vice President J.D. Vance...
Yeah, what's wrong with naming Antifa a terrorist organization? That's what they are.
Vance promised to go after nonprofits such as the Open Society Foundations and the Ford Foundation that had provided financial support for liberal and progressive causes. The New York Times suggested that First Amendment rights would make it difficult for the Trump administration to do so. 10. The announcement came amidst the Trump administration's concurrent widespread crackdowns on political opponents and civil society. 10.
See, obviously, this is sort of like, you can see the slant of Wikipedia, you know. If this was reversed, they'd be saying, you know, have a different tone.
Society. 10. 12. 13. The administration's threats against investigating and dismantling liberal groups received widespread criticism from free speech advocates and legal experts, who denounced the moves as using Kirk's assassination as a pretext to crack down on political opposition. 14. 15. 13. NBC News described the Trump administration as appearing to be using Kirk's assassination as an excuse to crack down on left-wing people and groups. 11. In response to Trump's threats.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you were out there and you're the people that are saying, you know, I don't know what to say. I mean, if people are calling... I don't think it matters if a person out there, just a random schmo, goes, hey, they are a fascist. But when you have politicians and news outlets saying that, that's where it crosses the line. Because now you have a news outlet that's telling people that somebody, your president or whatever, is a Nazi or a fascist, and then it's going to inspire one of the you know, like, let's just be honest. I mean, there are some really crazy people on the fringes of the Democrat Party. There's also crazy people in, you know, on the far right of our party, right? You know, a lot of people that watch my show are conservative. Either way, if you're calling somebody a fascist, those people are nuts. I mean, look at all the stuff Antifa does, the protests, etc. They are violent people, okay? And one of them is going to go, wow, I'll be a hero if I take this person out because the media is saying that they're a fascist, therefore they must be. But by the way, did anybody see what we have a goal that we're trying to do here? We got 5 alley cake, and then C daily. We need 4 more, you guys.
Threats. 100 liberal philanthropies wrote an open letter defending their work and criticizing the administration's intentions to dismantle them, writing, organizations should not be attacked for carrying out their missions or expressing their values in support of the communities they serve. We reject attempts to exploit political violence to mischaracterize our good work or restrict our fundamental freedoms, like freedom of speech and the freedom to give. Attempts to silence speech, criminalize opposing viewpoints, and misrepresent and limit charitable giving undermine our democracy and harm all Americans. 133. Attorney General Pam Bondi received bipartisan pushback after stating the administration would target and prosecute some criticism against Kirk as hate speech, including veiled criticism by Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. 135. Bondi's comment was also criticized by some conservative political commentators, including Tucker Carlson and Eric Erickson. 136. 137. Following the comments by Bondi, Jonathan Karl of ABC News asked...
Yeah, I don't think, criticizing Kirk is hate speech. You know? To me it's just sort of like, if people are canceled just because of a lack of judgment in terms of, like, you're out there saying you're happy that somebody got killed, and then all these different things that people say. It's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call it hate speech. It's just, I don't know. I mean, we do have freedom of speech, but my God, you guys, don't you see what it's doing?
Asked the president for his opinion on comments made by some of his allies who considered hate speech to be free speech. In response, Trump said that his administration would probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. 138. According to Fox News, Bondi lost confidence in FBI Director Kash Patel due to his handling of the investigation and manhunt. 139. A former federal prosecutor and legal analyst at MSNBC said Patel's actions could potentially hurt the accused's right to a fair trial. 140.
How?
Since Kirk's assassination, the U.S. Department of Justice reportedly removed a 2024...
Hey guys, up there, Lisa Valenzuela said if we get 5... what was it? It was 10 channel memberships. She would donate 50 to the Buy Me a Coffee. We've got 5, 6, and that's it. Is there any chance you guys could do the other 4 so we can get that? We're trying to reach 400 tonight so that I can donate. I want to donate $500 to Rain. Ah, jeez. Come on, Alley Cake. Well, thank you. Man, you just...
2024 study, 141, 142, titled, What NIJ Research
Thanks,
Tells
Alley
Us
Cake.
About Domestic Terrorism, 143, which showed that white supremacist and far-right violence continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism in the United States, in contrast to statements made by the Trump administration. 145. It was replaced by a notice saying, the Department of Justice's Office of Justice Programs is currently reviewing its websites and materials in accordance with recent executive orders and related guidance. During this review, some pages and publications will be unavailable. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. 144. The U.S. State Department said it would review the legal status of immigrants found to be praising, rationalizing, or making light of Kirk's assassination. 146 White House deputies...
Why wouldn't you do that? If you're over here and you're not even a citizen in the United States and you're hoping to become a citizen and you're trashing somebody who died, do we really want you as a citizen here? You know?
Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller said Kirk's assassination was the result of an ideology that is at war with family and nature, that leads, always, inevitably and willfully, to violence. 147, 148. He later vowed to dismantle and take on the violent radical left organizations in the United States by using the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership. 149. On September 17th, 1 week after the shooting, Trump declared that he would designate Antifa as a terrorist group. 150, 151, 152. Trump signed a national security memorandum, the FBI and Joint Terrorism Task Force, to focus on anti-fascist political violence before they result in violent political acts, citing indicators such as anti-capitalism, anti-Americanism, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views. On September 11th, Kirk's casket, accompanied by United States Vice President J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, and Kirk's widow Erica Kirk, 154, was transported on Air Force Two from Salt Lake City, Utah, to Phoenix, Arizona. 155. Trump ordered all federal government flags to be flown at half-staff until September 14 at 6 p.m. in Kirk's honor. 43 critics noted that Trump had not done the same when Democratic Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman was killed in June. 156, 28, 157. The New York Times criticized Trump's comments. 158, 159. The traditional presidential role as a unifier to instead blame his opponents and vow revenge. 8.
Yeah, you see how
Trump
these people, it's just so hypocritical. The Democrats never do what this obviously whoever wrote this is a Democrat. And they never do what they're claiming in here that Trump's doing. It's just the way it is nowadays, you know? It's horrible.
Later released a video tribute to Kirk and announced that he would be posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Also on September 11th, a letter was published online from 16 congressional Republicans to House Speaker Johnson, calling for a statue to be erected in Kirk's memory in the U.S. Capitol. 161. On September 15th, New College of Florida announced plans to erect a statue of Kirk on its campus in Sarasota. 162. Various government officials such as Caroline Leavitt, Mike Johnson, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gathered at a prayer vigil at the Kennedy Center on September 14th to honor and give remarks on Kirk's life and work.
You know what I would do in the statue is I would have Charlie Kirk holding a microphone, just sitting in a chair talking. That's what I would do. And it would be something about freedom of speech. I mean, it's sort of interesting, right? Like, he's freedom of speech. He wants people to say what they want to say and have a conversation and dialogue. But then you've got then like the Republicans are trying to like not allow people to call people fascists and Nazis. But then that's not freedom of speech. But at the same time, when you call people fascists and Nazis, it turns into violence. People want to take you out. All right, so right now we're at equivalent to about 250 total. So we need another 150 to go to get to where I'll donate $500 to, real cash. So whenever I donate $500, to get that back, I have to bring in 750 on the channel. That's the thing, right? So if you guys do just 400 tonight, I'll send in 500 to Rain, which we haven't donated to in a while, and they sent me an email like, hey, don't forget about us, So there you go. That's what we're trying to do tonight. So we're trying to get to, we got another about, actually we're only at about 230 something. That's right. Here we go. That's right. Are you going to help out tonight, Jamie? Never seen you help out before. Yeah. Oh, I guess you're God. You must have been a troll. Huh. Oh, well.
Work. 163. A memorial service took place on September 21st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, and was attended by Erica, Kirk, Trump, Vance, and Elon Musk, among others. 164. During the service, Trump said in part that Kirk did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. 165. During an interview on Fox and Friends on September 19th, Cardinal Timothy Dolan of the Catholic Church likened Kirk to a modern-day St. Paul. 166. Following the assassination of Kirk, there were widespread terminations or suspensions of workers and students for comments or social media posts either celebrating Kirk's death or alleged to be critical of Kirk or of Republican efforts to capitalize on his death. Those fired included teachers, firefighters, and members of the military and U.S. Secret Service. Many received death threats. 167. 168 politicians, public figures, and public and private sector workers also faced firings, investigations, and suspensions over their comments about the killing. 169. Far-right activists like Laura Loomer called for violence and revenge, and doxed people they accused of celebrating or justifying Kirk's death. 171. An organization initially named Expose Charlie's Murderers, later rebranded to the Charlie Kirk Data Foundation, reportedly collected more than 63,000 submissions of public comments about Kirk. 172, 173, 174. The website, hosted under the web platform Epic, was removed on September 16th after violating its terms of service. 175. According to Epic, the domain was registered using false information, and they had received credible DDoS threats. 175. 107. Submit-shooting. The site had accumulated 30 experts characterized the site as a means to coordinate harassment and as an echo of Turning Point USA's Professor Watchlist. 167. 178. Reuters reported that some previously mocked political violence. Reuters cited comments from right-wing activists, including Kirk, about past events, including the attack on Paul Pelosi. 168. Several people were mistakenly identified as having made hateful comments about Kirk or his death, including a Wisconsin elementary school teacher and an IT technician for Walmart, whose family had to flee their home after he was doxxed. 172. On
Are
September...
they going to say anything about, like, the Democrats in here? You know, the disgusting behavior that they did?
September 12th, comedian Jimmy Kimmel, on his ABC late-night talk show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, blamed Trump for not uniting the country after Kirk's killing, and instead attacking Democrats. 179.
That's not what that's absolutely not what happened there. He blamed the right for Charlie Kirk's death. This guy right here.
Democrats. 179. On the September 15th episode, Kimmel said the MAGA gang was desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and was trying to score political points from the crime rather than sincerely grieving. FCC Chief Brendan Carr said Kimmel appeared to directly mislead the American public and threatened possible actions against ABC, including the revocation of the broadcast licenses of its owned and operated stations. 180. Nexstar Media Group announced that they would preempt Kimmel on their 32 ABC-affiliated stations for the foreseeable future. 182. Nexstar had been seeking FCC approval for a $6.2 billion acquisition of Tegna Inc. at the time. ABC then announced that it would suspend the program indefinitely. 180. Friday described the suspension. Vivs have called for any critic of Kirk's work to be silenced, no matter how nuanced the argument may be. 184. After a public backlash. Days later after a public backlash. 186.
Wow, changed the name. I don't know. I don't know why they just can't get back to like Johnny Carson types. These guys are not entertaining. They're not funny. Only fringe people watch Jimmy Kimmel. Like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel, I can't wait. He gets terrible ratings. He doesn't, the money that they bring in is not worth what they're paying him. They should just fire him, you know, and then go back to just having people that are funny on who make fun of everybody. That's it, okay? Or don't even make fun of everybody. Just do a show, be funny, bring on guests, whatever the hell you used to do. It's just so ridiculous. But I don't know if you guys heard what I said. We are still trying to get, we need another probably, I don't know, 30 memberships or so to get to, that'd probably be enough to be able to donate the 500. We're just trying to reach a $400 goal to do that. Tonight's one of those nights we're just struggling to do it, but if you guys have the ability to, we'll be able to do that. All right, and then we'll add it to our totals and, you know, just go through the rest of the month, and then on the last day of the month, hopefully we'll be able to donate more thousands. Who knows?
On September 15th, while hosting Kirk's podcast, Vice President Vance called on Americans to report those celebrating Kirk's assassination to their employers and promised to use...
Well, thanks, Lisa Belson. Jeez. Man, what about the rest of you guys? Come on, let's do it. We can do this.
Use the federal government to investigate and punish liberal organizations and donors.
Lisa Belson.
The Associated Press described the campaign as having broadened to include even those whose statements were critical of Kirk without celebrating his assassination. Adam Goldstein of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression described the shift as a form of right-wing cancel culture, noting that people were being targeted for simply quoting Kirk or failing to mourn his passing adequately. Goldstein said that government involvement in this does inch this closer to looking like McCarthyism. 16 CNN reported that Disney employees and staff members received death threats and had their email addresses and phone numbers publicized. 187 Senator Ted Cruz denounced the FCC's act by calling it unbelievably dangerous for government to put itself in the position of saying, we're going to decide what speech we like and what we don't. Yeah. And we're going to threaten to take you out there if we don't like what you're saying, and noting that this behavior could be used against conservatives in the future.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Reactions and analysis. Shortly after Kirk's death, his widow Erica spoke to viewers in a live stream from his old podcast studio at Turning Point USA's headquarters. She began the broadcast by thanking first responders, Kirk's staff, and the White House, and she pledged, "My husband's voice will remain." 163. She also called for retribution on evildoers, stating, "You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry." 163. She vowed to continue carrying her husband's ideals and movement and told viewers that she would make sure his name would never be forgotten. 189. In a later interview with the New York Times, Erica explained how she pushed to see Kirk's body against advisement by law enforcement. She reportedly told authorities, "With all due respect, I want to see what they did to my husband," before kissing him goodbye and stating that he looked like he died happy with a Mona Lisa-like half-smile. 191. The shooting saw a bipartisan condemnation from politicians. 192 messages of sympathy came from United States President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, 193 First Lady Melania Trump.
They didn't send 192. That's their... For some reason, this thing reads... It's citation number 192.
Trump. 194 House Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, 195, and former President George W. Bush, 196, among other Republicans. 43 Vance took over as host of the Charlie Kirk Show podcast for the September 15th episode, saying that he would not have become vice president without Kirk and vowing to carry his legacy forward. 197. Democratic politicians condemned the shooting, including former presidents Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. Free 57 Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, 198. California Governor Gavin Newsom, and Minnesota Representative Ilhan.
Why do people like you say stuff like that, Ree? Or whatever the hell your name is? Can we switch the voice up? Oh, God. Oh. Like, who the hell do you guys think you are? I'm just doing a show, man. Complain somewhere else. You know, it's just bizarre. I'm not going to switch it up.
Ilhan Omar. 173 politicians linked the shooting to broader political debates. Several congressional Republicans blamed Democrats and accused the left of inciting violence with rhetoric. 200 Democrats and several analysts countered that Trump's divisive rhetoric was also a factor in coarsening public debate and that political violence had impacted both parties. Democrats also cited the killing to further discussion of gun safety legislation. In his nationwide address, Trump solely blamed the radical left for Kirk's and other recent deaths, and did not mention recent Democratic victims of violence. 201 NBC News called Trump's response far more polarizing than many of the other messages offered by politicians and representatives of both parties. 201 several publications, including among others The Economist, 202 The New York Times, 159 PBS republishing the conversation, 204 in Time, 205 noted that contrary to Trump's accusations, most perpetrators of political violence have been right-leaning. A research finding that has been repeatedly confirmed. A research finding. A week after the assassinated from its website What Nij Reason, a 2024 study from its National Institute of Justice that found that the majority of ideologically motivated homicides in the United States since 1990, excluding the September 11 attacks, had been committed by right-wing extremists. 210. In response to Trump, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, himself the target of an arson attack some months earlier, said, "The president shouldn't cherry-pick what counts and what doesn't count. When he does that, it gives a pass to some. We can't have that." This is a moment where leaders need to speak and act with moral clarity, where we need to condemn this type of violence in our communities, in our politics. 211 the next day, Trump stated, "We have radical left lunatics out there, and we just have to beat the hell out of them," but later said he hoped his supporters would be nonviolent. 212 during a Fox and Friends interview on September 12th, when asked about the presence of radicals on both political sides, Trump responded, "I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. The radicals on the left are the problem." 214. Trump's advisor Stephen Miller said that left-wing political organizations constitute a vast domestic terror movement and that we are going to use every resource we have throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks. 204 opinion editors, 215, as well as both far-right commentators, 174, and Trump Kirk's killing to the Reichstag fire, the 1933 arson of the German parliament building that Hitler used as a pretext to suspend civil liberties and prosecute political opposition, to Aung San's Reichstag fire moment. 215, How Democracies Die. Author, Professor Stephen Levitsky, argued that exploiting Kirk's killing to justify unleashing attacks on critics is page 1 of the authoritarian playbook. 217 experts on political violence.
Page 1 of right after a very popular young person who likely would have ran for president and could have even won because he has so many young people. It's the thing that would happen right after that. That's how your first instinct reaction is. You know, you don't start going, "Hey, go ahead and keep saying it. It's free speech, everybody. Keep calling people fascists." Nobody talks like that. Okay? But hey, guys, we're still trying to get to the goal. We just always keep having these massive lulls. We're trying to get to... We need another challenge by somebody out there. We need about 20 channel memberships, and then I'll donate $500 to RAIN, which is the Violence Against Women charity that we've given over 30,000 over the years to.
Violence described the rush to assign blame as potentially leading to more conflict. So described counterterrorism experts AL. So described Trump's previous pardon of the January 6 attack defendants as having created a permission structure for them to commit political violence.
Permission structure?
Johnson held a 30-second moment of silence.
No, they were pardoned because the amount of time that they were given in prison and the volume of people that you threw into prison and charged is disgusting. You guys you completely misrepresented, the magnitude of, the different people that were in there. Hundreds and hundreds of people Some people give him like 2, 3, 5 years.
The U.S.
Give me a
House of
break.
Representatives for Kirk observed
But
by
what about all of the violence that happened in the cities with looting and rioting and burning down the cities and towns, costing billions of dollars? None of those people are arrested by you guys.
by all House members. Following disagreements on the floor, the event descended into partisan rancor and accusations by both sides. 218, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that the Pentagon is tracking...
Hey, there's Chris O'Connell. Thank you. Well, pretend that that was a challenge, you guys, and match the 10. Then we'll be right there.
very closely any civilian and military employee who is a Kirk detractor or who celebrated his death to impose punishment. 219-220 Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau urged social media users to turn in foreign residents of the U.S. who mocked or celebrated Kirk's death. Elon Musk said in a video clip that people of the left were celebrating Kirk's death, commenting, "Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die." 222. At the end of September, Musk called the Anti-Defamation League ADL a hate group and accused it of being anti-Christian in nature.
You know, it's interesting. If you get somebody like Elon Musk to think a certain way, then you've got a problem. He's really pretty sort of libertarian, you know, and now even he is like, holy crap. Hey, you guys. Thank you. Hold on, let me get updated here a little bit here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I think Lisa Belson just sent me her address, but you can still win another one. Also, if you win, you can always say spin again if you don't want like duplicates and everything.
How about a $5 holler? Ocean wave emoji. Ocean wave emoji. Ocean wave emoji.
All right, there, and then Christine. All right.
This came after the assassination brought new attention to the ADL's historical work on right-wing anti-Semitism and other alleged extremism, which included TPUSA and Kirk. 223, 224, 225, following the backlash from Musk and other prominent conservatives. The FBI cut ties with the ADL, and Director Kash Patel made a statement condemning the ADL. 226 ADL announced that it was retiring its glossary of extremism because an increasing number of entries in the glossary were outdated. 227. Kirk's death garnered messages of condolence from world leaders and foreign politicians. 228-229 Argentine President Javier Milei. 230 and Prime Minister Anthony...
I'm going to skip through all these. These are people that were responding. And Dixie Hippie said, how about a $5 haul? Yeah, so right now we're only 5 channel memberships short, and then we'll donate the 500.
European right-wing
Have the
populist
income from the
leaders
channel.
drew upon Kirk's killing to galvanize their supporters and denounce the left. 228. Orban of the ruling Hungarian Fidesz party linked Kirk's assassination to the attacks on the Czech former Prime Minister,
Chris
Andrej
O'Connell.
Babis, and Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, and urged to stop the hate-mongering left. 229 Georgian President Mikhail Kavalashvili and Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze similarly linked the assassination to left-wing politics with Kobakidze, claiming the assassination showed where these so-called liberals and pseudo-liberals are dragging the modern world. 234 Geert Wilders of the Dutch Party for Freedom said, I repeat his true words that are valid for Europe as well. Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of Europe. 228. Jordan Bardella of the French National
gotta do with
Rally
anything.
blamed the dehumanizing rhetoric of the left and its intolerance which fuels political violence.
Yeah.
And Alice Weidel of Alternative for Germany said that Kirk had been killed by a fanatic who hates our way of life. 247. Matteo Salvini, Italian Deputy Prime Minister and leader of Lega,
Hey, thank you very much, Hilson. House of Crazy. And Chris O'Connell.
Lega, said that he had cried over Kirk, death, and wished to emulate him by talking directly to youngsters. 248 in Spain, Vox and Patriots.eu. President Santiago Abascal paid tribute to Kirk during his party's annual convention by wearing a shirt similar to the one Kirk had been wearing when he was shot. 249. In the United Kingdom, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage paid tribute to Kirk in the House of Commons, saying he mourned the loss of a friend, 250. And Tommy Robinson used the killing to mobilize support for the anti-immigration Unite the Kingdom rally in London on September 13th. 251. On September 11th, the European Conservatives and Reformist Group, ECR Group, and Europe of Sovereign Nations Group, ESN Group, the right-wing and far-right political groups in the European Parliament, put forward a motion to hold a minute of silence to honor Kirk. The motion was rejected by Parliament President Roberta Metsola, although Swedish ECR Group MEP Charlie Weimers was permitted to make a statement on Kirk's shooting before the voting session began. Weimers' attempt to yield part of his time for a moment of silence was interrupted by Parliament Vice President Katerina Barley. 253.
Why?
French MEP Nathalie Loiseau of Renew Europe said that she had received death threats after opposing the minute of silence, and commented that even though Kirk was a victim, he would have been considered a delinquent in France for his racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic opinions.
He didn't, though.
250.
He didn't have any of those things, you know. Let's see. He had no anti-Semitic comments. He was not racist at all. The things that they attribute to him as being racist are complete bullshit. You know, he's not racist. Where did this come from? Now, the homophobic thing, I mean, I wouldn't say it's homophobic. He just doesn't, he only comments on transgender issues. He doesn't care. He has people that he cares about and hangs out with that are gay or lesbian, you know? So I don't really understand. This is what I'm saying, is that these people are idiots, you know? Where do they come up with the racist comment? Where is it? Can you show me one? Just one time, at any point in time, in any clip, where he was racist. The thing that they try to pin it on is when they were talking about DEI hiring. Because of DEI hiring, if he gets on an airplane and the pilot is, let's say, a minority of some sort, he won't know if they were the best. You think to yourself, are these a DEI hiring? That's the problem with having things like that. Because it puts into if there was no such thing as DEI hiring, then every pilot that you had, you would just assume was the best there is. They're really good. But when there is DEI hiring, your mind goes, well, how do I know that or like same thing as in the medical world, etc. That's the only thing he ever said. I don't know how that makes somebody a racist. Martin Luther King would be absolutely against DEI hiring or affirmative action, things like that. He would be. You know why? Because he said, do not judge by the color of one's skin, but by the content of their character. So that means you judge them by who they are in terms of their ability, their person, not by the race that they are. Okay? And I think that's something I think it was initially had a good purpose, and it sort of served a purpose of, normalizing different people in different areas, But at this point, I don't know. It just feels like we're just sort of forcing things that, I don't know. I mean, I had a conversation with my brother about it. He had some good points. He's kind of opposite of me on just about everything. But, there's different things to think about out there, What do you guys think about that? I just don't understand that right there. Like this whole person, he's a racist. He would have been somebody who was a delinquent in France because he's racist, anti-Semitic. How is Charlie Kirk anti-Semitic? Man, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Man, whew. Wow. Now, what do you mean, let's be honest? Please, I don't know what you're talking about, man. He's not racist at all. Why don't you go? People who think he's racist, they are people who have never watched him talk. Okay, if you went and watched the videos of him talking, you'd go, "Oh, okay, yeah, that wasn't okay. I get it." Yeah. Yeah. People don't though. They hear what somebody else said he said, and then claim that. That's the problem.
Opinions.
I am honest. That's
254.
why I'm talking.
Valerie
I
Hare,
don't lie to
leader of the
people.
Renew Europe group, similarly said that the European Parliament should not honor Kirk because of his supremacist, racist, anti-abortion, and pro-Russian views. 255. A moment of silence was held for Kirk at the Seimas, the Lithuanian Parliament, on September 18th, following a resolution from Lithuanian Farmers Greens and Christian Families Union MP Rimas Jonas Jankunas. 256. On September 18th, Czech Cardinal Dominik Duka celebrated a requiem mass for Kirk at the Church of Our Lady Before Tin. The mass was attended by hundreds of worshippers, including politicians, while dozens of demonstrators gathered in front of the church holding banners describing Kirk as fascist, racist, and sexist. Following the announcement of Kirk's killing, Russian state media said on social platforms that the United States was gearing up for a potential civil war. Chinese state media depicted the incident as indicative of a disordered and deteriorating society, afflicted by political turmoil and gun violence. News of Kirk's shooting and subsequent death dominated the day's news agenda, with major news networks entering into breaking news mode around 2:50 p.m. ET upon receiving word that Kirk had been shot in the neck area, with rolling coverage continuing throughout the day. 259. Significant public interest in the event saw Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN all drawing larger audiences than usual. On September 10, 2025, the three networks collectively averaged 6.9 million.
The thing is I only watched those other ones to see what their spin was going to be.
6.9 million viewers, a 65% jump from the 4.2 million who watched a week earlier. September 11 saw the three networks draw a combined audience of 6.2 million, up 72% from the prior week's 3.6 million. 260. On September 12th, Fox News hosted a primetime special.
You know what's crazy about that is like, Candace Owens gets 1 million. I mean, she's right there, you know, all by herself.
Special titled Charlie Kirk, an American Original.
That's crazy.
261, while condemning the shooting. Left-wing publications including The National, The Nation, and The New Republic accused the mass media of whitewashing Kirk's career. 262. 263. Fox News host Jesse Waters commented, "They are at..."
And by the way, if Charlie Kirk was racist, don't you think Candace Owens would say something? I'm just asking a question. If Charlie Kirk was literally a racist person, don't you think Candace Owens might say something about that? I mean, my God, she's willing to say anything about anybody.
"War with us. We're going to avenge Charlie's death in the way he would want it avenged. Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible." 265. Streamer. Left-wing streamer Hassan Piker, who had been due to debate Kirk later in September, called the killing a terrifying incident and said, "The reverberation of people seeking out vengeance in the aftermath of this violent, abhorrent incident is going to be genuinely worrisome."
Right, and there's been nothing. You know, not one person. Okay, nothing's happened because we know where the violence is coming from. All right, so that's popular culture. Okay, let's do the rain. All right, here we go. Rain homepage. This is Violence Against Women. As the nation's largest anti-sexual violence nonprofit, RAIN provides 24/7 support, prevention, education, and public policy advocacy to help survivors stop harm and enable justice. How does RAIN help survivors? Support services, education and community, policy and justice. RAIN advocates for legislation that prevents harm, protects victims, and ensures perpetrators are held accountable. Consulting and training. RAIN offers customized training and consulting services. RAIN educates adults and kids to recognize, prevent, and respond to sexual violence. Online exploitation. It's all kinds of stuff. Anyways, we're just all right, here we go. No, not doing that. You can see, okay, right there, and then I've got to sign into over here, so might be a second. Don't worry, I'll prove it all. Okay. I like to contribute. Let's see. I don't know if anybody, I don't think anybody's matching. And there we go. Thank you for your support. All right, so this screen right here says contribution information 11/14/2025 at 11:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, $500. There he is. Yeah, there we go. Got it. All right, then we'll, to double verify it, we'll go to the, let's see, right over here. You can see right there at the bottom of the screen, the email came in, and there it is. You paid $500 to Rain. Okay, there you go. Boom, 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 500, 500, 500. So thanks, freaks. Can I get a boom? All right. Created a stream like 2 months ago when it first happened. Is today the first time you've looked into the case? Who you what's going on? He had to have had it somewhere. He couldn't have been waving it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. When he was walking away after jumping off the roof, why was he not limping? Because the gun was not put back together. He had the gun completely out when he jumped off the roof, and it was wrapped in a towel. The barrel is so thin, you know, the thin portion, that you couldn't see it on the camera very well. And let's see, the shooting. And I think he was actually kind of holding it where the barrel was closer to his body at times. I don't know. Yeah, I understand why the person said if you ever followed the case. Because if you were following the case handler, 0988, that wouldn't be even a question you remotely thought of. So I have to agree with 62 Sketch that you obviously are completely unaware. He didn't. What are you talking about, man? Hey, Nicole, you seem absolutely confused. Again, we've gone over this 1,000 times. He went onto the roof with the rifle down his pants. He went up onto the roof and he assembled the rifle on the other side of a wall using the screwdriver. Then he ran over and he shot Charlie Kirk. He didn't sit up there and take the time to unscrew the damn thing. Do you understand that? Then he ran across, climbed down, and you can see the elongated item wrapped in a black towel, and he keeps wrapping it around, and he tries to put it next to his leg and walk with it at the same time. And then he crosses the street. They see him on camera do this whole thing. But when you jump off, what do you mean, but when you jump off a 20, what are you talking about? It does not fall out of his hands. That's an error in the documents when they say he dropped the item. He did not do it. This is insane. Why are we still doing these conversations with people? Have you guys not been following the case? It is absolutely crystal clear. Maybe in a little later we'll go check out that video again. Wow.
Worrisome. 178. On the night of Kirk's assassination, Comedy Central canceled all scheduled reruns of the South Park episode Got a Nut, in which the character of Eric Cartman portrays a parodic version of Kirk. 267. This followed an online campaign to have the show canceled over its satirical portrayal of Kirk shortly before his death. 268. Kirk himself.
Yeah, it's just crazy, handler. I mean, if you've been here, you've heard it, and it's been described to you, and now you're saying something else. Hey, thank you, Chris O'Connell. You like that voice there? Here, I'll tell you what. I'm going to open up. Premiere. Let's see if we can find this thing before we continue on here. Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe we'll get the music too. Oh, yeah. I have it. Man, what a miracle. Just that easy. All right. So you're still here, right? Let's go ahead and watch it, handler. Make sure you're still here. We're going to go check it out. All right. So watch how this really happens here. Watch. Okay. I'm the one that found the hand marks on the roof. I put it out there. Every one of these little things with his feet match it perfectly. Right there. Boom. Now notice right here in his right hand, that's the rifle. See how it kind of comes down and it's an elongated item inside of a black towel? Do you see that? See that right there? Can you see that? I just want to make sure you can see it. Can you see it? You know what one thing I was wondering about is what if he didn't screw it like all the way, he just put the screws into it. Is that enough to keep it together on the shot? And I guess then you'd ask, well, why did he have, because what if he, forget it. That would still, that couldn't have happened. It takes too long. So look at, right there in his right hand, he got up and ran immediately, so he couldn't have done that. So look at right there. See that? That's the rifle. Now watch. He jumps. Here, I'm going to zoom in as far as I can like this. Watch. Okay, and then right there, and he jumps about 10 feet high as his feet. So he jumps down. Now watch. That's still in his right hand. And when it hits the ground, he's still... right there, the gun and everything hits the ground. But he doesn't lose control of it. In fact, he picks it right back up again. Look. See that? So they made an error in the documents when they said he dropped the item that he was carrying. Look right there. Can you see that right there? I just want you to look. Hey, handler, can you see it? Just pay attention really quick. Can you see that right there? Do you see it? Hey, handler, focus on what I'm telling you. Do you see that right there? Hey, handler, if you're not going to respond, I'm going to have to get rid of you, man, because this is the only reason we're doing this right here. Do you see that right there on the screen? I'm not like Charlie Kirk. Okay, you see it. Now watch, he's moving forward, but now he reaches down to pick up an item off the ground, putting his weight on his left foot, grabs it with his left hand, and then he starts running. You know what that was? His glasses. Which absolutely make complete sense. Watch. Now watch what he's doing right here. See, his left hand is out. And then look how he puts it up next to his face, trying to get the glasses back on his head. See that right there? He's trying to get the glasses back on, and he's still running with the rifle, but it's kind of next to his body. He's kind of got it propped up. He doesn't want it sticking too far out because then people might notice it. So here he goes. Just keep watching him over here. He's running. See, he's got the rifle wrapped in the black towel. Look at that one right there. That's not his arms. He doesn't have praying mantis arms. That's actually the rifle right there. You see that? And then he's running forward. It's right next to him. And then it gets kind of interesting. Right there, he's got it more over on the left side. See that? And he's trying to keep it hidden from the people on the street. But look at that right there. Can you see that right there? Crystal clear, everybody. There it is again. Right there, that long item. And then look when he gets right over here. He knows, he's like, oh man, this sucks. So he's walking with it right with his leg. Watch this. See that? Boom. And he swings it forward with his left leg. Swings it again forward with his left leg. Swings it forward again with his left leg. And then over here, he sort of loses that. And then he kind of keeps it by his right-hand side as he sees cars driving by. And then he makes his way to the edge over here. I mean, is that good enough for you? Well, it all makes sense. And he didn't jump off a 20-foot roof. Again, why do you keep saying that? The roof height was 16 feet. He put his feet down at 10 feet and jumped. No, everything I'm telling you is truthful. I'm not making stuff up at all. So why didn't you think it's the back? What do you mean his back? Well, I guess his backpack's on him. Hey, by the way, do you guys understand why I get frustrated on here? I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all if that was a troll. I'd believe it. Because he's got the backpack on. See it right there? This right here is the backpack. See that? There it is, the backpack. You can still see the bulge of it right back here. That's the backpack. And there it is right here. See that? That's the backpack. And then he jumps. And he's got the backpack on still. Look at that, up here. Anyways, I'm done with that part, okay? For anybody else out there that hadn't seen that before, do you now see exactly what we're talking about? Let's see, it says, it just takes a break from chat. I don't want to make... Okay, you do want to make me frustrated. All right, we're going to have to time you out, man. Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, I didn't figure that. I thought maybe we had somebody who really just didn't understand, but that's not the case.
Himself had called his parody in South Park hilarious. 269. Several National Football League and Major League Baseball teams paid tribute to Kirk in their games following his death. Although teams in both leagues faced criticism from fans for either honoring...
Oh, wait. I got to go back over to this. Got to fix it right now. Okay, so here we go. We've got... hey, look at that. We hit 270,000 all time. Pretty sweet. And then this year... we are at 4151. Oh, 51, like that. All right, there you go. So we're all caught up there. Thank you, freaks. You guys are the reason, and I mean, I would say mainly the reason we're able to do that. The ad revenue, when there's a month where there's good cases to cover, it can do well. Were you following that, Zozo? That was some crazy shit right there.
Honoring Kirk or not honoring Kirk. 270, 271.
Thank you, Chris O'Connell again.
On September 12 and 13,
Kiyo.
country singer Morgan Wallen dedicated his song I'm a Little Crazy to Kirk's widow in performances in Edmonton. 273. During a Coldplay concert on September 14, frontman Chris Martin mentioned Kirk's family and asked the audience to send love out into the world, adding, you can send it to people you disagree with, but you send them love anyway. 274.
Well, Nicole, it's going to... the evidence is going to be exactly what I've been saying and then a hell of a lot more, okay? The camera that is right here, and if you've been on this channel, you'd know it, because I've actually flew a drone to right here. And, from right in this position, this camera could see everything. And literally followed him going into the woods over here. Here, let me see. Do I have it? Is it over here now? There it is. Maybe we can load that one up later. Again.
Anyway. 274, 275. On the same day, English rap duo Bob Vylan mocked Kirk's death at a concert in Amsterdam, with frontman Bobby Vylan saying, the pronouns was, were. Because if you talk shit, you will get banged. Rest in piss, Charlie Kirk, you piece of shit. 276. 277C. Subsequently, a Vylan concert in Tilburg was cancelled by the venue. 278. News of Kirk's death prompted fervent reactions on social media. 279, 280, 281. The New York Times described social media as featuring heartfelt messages from the left and right, anguish about political violence, and sharply partisan and political takes. 6 mentions of, and comparisons with, the Reichstag fire and the murder of Horst Wessel's sword. 7 282, a remark Kirk had made in 2023. It's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights, was reposted numerous times on social media after the shooting. 6.
Yeah, I mean, but see how sick the left is to even come up with that one? Hey, Nicole, go watch Charlie Kirk's videos and you tell me, email me the one that you think he sounds like that, like he's racist. I haven't seen one. I've watched like hundreds and hundreds of them, even the ones people claim, and they're just not. You know, it's like, it's actually reverse of that. Anyways, here, check it out. So this is a shot of exactly, look at this. This is the camera right there. See that? Right here. And so I have this right at the exact height. And so this is going to be exact the same thing that they have. You'll see a person coming up these stairs. Well, first you'll see at 12:02 a person coming around right here, wearing all dark, limping. The same person that went up the tunnel, down the stairs into the tunnel, then up into the parking garage. You can see him walk all the way over here, and then he's going to go through the doors there at like 12:03. And then at 12:15, he's going to come at the top of these stairs, and then he's going to walk right over here and climb over that wall. And they can't see him, so I guess it's more likely that he was over in this earlier corner, and that's where he assembled the rifle. Then he got up, and you'll see on camera him running across over here and going over the corner and shooting and killing Charlie Kirk. The parents are already identified the person that's on the roof as Tyler Robinson. Now you go, well, they didn't say he was a guy in the roof. Yeah, well, they said he was a guy in the tunnel, you know, down the stairs into the tunnel, and the guy going up in the stairs into the parking garage. The person that walked on the roof is limping and wearing exactly the same clothing. You'll probably even see the white logo on the front of the shirt as he walks over like this. As he comes around, you'll see the white logo on his shirt, and you'll be able to tell it's the same person. And it's not reasonable to believe otherwise. Then he goes over there, shoots Charlie Kirk, then he runs across, jumps off the corner of the roof right here, and then he runs up over this hill like this, and then he's going to go across the street, and then this camera can look all the way over here. And they could tell that he didn't go over there, so he must have gone into the woods. So they sent police in there, and lo and behold, the rifle wrapped in the black towel was in there. Now you go, well, hey, Gray, how do we know that was him? Well, the thing is, his parents identified him as being the person on the stairway, in the tunnel, and then into the parking garage. And then you say, well, how do you know it's the same guy on the roof? It might just be somebody that's limping wearing exactly the same clothing. Well, let's see. On the roof, they found a screwdriver with Tyler Robinson's DNA on it. Can you explain that one to me? Then the rifle wrapped in a black towel they found in the wooded area that had his DNA on the rifle, the towel, the trigger area on the rifle, the bullet that was the spent shell had Tyler Robinson's DNA on it. And 2 of the other shells had his DNA on it. Gray, but what about the third shell that did? What about it? How come that one didn't have his DNA, you bastard? I'm never watching again. Yeah, okay. Have a good time there. All right, back to this one.
Shooting. 6. Several far-right figures encouraged retaliatory violence against Democrats and saw the death as a recruiting event. 170, 174, 147. Before the shooter's identity and motivations were known, several influential right-wing voices called for vengeance and war.
199, 200 in the days after the shooting. Social media platform.
Oh, I thought you said to tell you the truth. Up there, Nicole. I thought you were saying that he was, because after I said he wasn't one, you said, "Let's tell us the truth." Maybe you were on rewind, I had the wrong topic. You know, I don't know.
Platforms including Meta,
I do that a
YouTube,
lot.
Reddit, and Bluesky issued statement denouncing posts that glorified Kirk's killing, which in extreme cases included incitement to commit violence against other
we'll do
right-wing
members only here in a
commentators
minute.
or figures like J.K. Rowling. According to the Associated Press, uncensored videos showing Kirk being shot spread across social media with lightning speed.
284.
Politico described this as a result of major platforms as having dismantled many of their safeguards against toxic content, in many cases to avoid Republican criticism. 285. The Tech Transparency Project, a nonprofit watchdog organization, reported that Instagram's teen accounts, which are designed with additional safety features for teens, could readily find videos of the shooting. Organizations that monitor media for children, including Common Sense Media and parental controls app Bark, reported spikes in traffic following the shooting as parents sought out advice on how to talk to their kids about it and prevent them from seeing the video. The day after the shooting, most of the graphic videos had been removed from social media, although they still showed up in searches and algorithmic feeds, particularly on Twitter and TikTok. 286. In the weeks following the death of Kirk, a viral phenomenon emerged on social media whereby Kirk's likeness was repeatedly face-swapped into image macros, reaction images, and video edits. These edits became known collectively as Kirkified memes, or by the neologism Kirkification. 287. According to the Wiktionary, Kirkification is defined as the process of editing or face-swapping one's face with American political activist Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys are arguing about, Nader Bader and Nicole. I mean, I think he did generally, when he jumped down, he wasn't running. He was just walking really, quickly. So I wouldn't say he was running if that's what you guys are arguing about. I think he was walking quickly over there. He didn't want to draw attention to himself. So he was trying to, keep the rifle wrapped in a towel. I mean, he was really struggling, and it's just kind of lucky. There wasn't a lot of people around because they were all watching the Charlie Kirk event. A couple cars drove by, and that's about it.
Kirk. 288. The related verb Kirkify is defined as to edit or face-swap one's face with American political activist Charlie Kirk. 289. Originated on the microblogging platform X, formerly Twitter, in late September 2025. The earliest identified posts paired Kirk's face with popular reaction clips and pictures, which rapidly circulated across image sharing and short-form video platforms like the aforementioned Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. 290. Throughout October 2025, the phenomenon expanded into TikTok comment sections, compilation videos, and viral edits that often use captions, like he's looking up at us right now.
Yeah, I think somebody that saw him probably came forward later and said, "Oh, I saw him running across the street." They just couldn't tell it was a rifle. His route's nothing, really. Look, the only time he had the black towel in the rifle was from right here to right there. It's like 100 yards, maybe. That's it. Other than that, and on the roof, but nobody was watching him on the roof. So when he jumps down, there's people here and there, but I think maybe somebody driving might go, "Oh, I remember him running across the street. I kind of slowed down, and then there was a guy, But they might not have noticed that he had a rifle. But that's the only part. When he was limping around earlier and stuff, people just thought he was limping around. Nobody went, "Oh my God, he's probably got a rifle in his pants." And nobody asks people, "Hey, why are you limping?" Like that, if you don't know him.
Now, accompanied by the hashtags #CharlieKirk and #Kirkification. 291 media outlets identified the trend as a socially driven meme movement, noting both its rapid spread and its atypical approach of inserting a real-life political figure's face.
Well, let me just tell you this. He absolutely was aware that there were cameras there. That's why he always had his head down. He wore sunglasses and a baseball cap. That's why he did that. Sunglasses and a baseball cap are generally enough to avoid... his parents recognize him, though, because unfortunately for him, is he wore the same baseball cap and hat and glasses, baseball cap and glasses all the time at home. So they went, "Oh my God, it looks just like him."
Face into otherwise unrelated meme templates for humorous or subversive effect. The term Kirkification was used by observers to summarize this process of face swap transformation. The trend was subject to criticism from Kirk's widow, Erica. Public concern about political violence was high after Kirk's killing. 292. In a September 12 YouGov poll, 87% agreed that political violence is a problem. 18% of liberals and 7% of conservatives interviewed said that political violence can sometimes be justified. Of those aged 18 to 29, 22% agreed, while only 3% over 65 did. YouGov said that public attitudes have varied over time depending on the identity of the victims, with concern rising more after an attack on a member of one's own party. 293 other outlets noted earlier polls with differing results. In a May 2025 poll, roughly 20% of both parties considered violence acceptable for political ends.
I think those are trolls. How old is that account? The accident video, the body camera footage was from 3 years before. Okay.
Ends 209, while in two polls from 2023 and 2024, roughly 10% of Democrats and 30% of Republicans said that violence may be necessary. 294, 295. According to G. Elliott Morris, polling exaggerates approval of political violence.
Wait, what's wrong
Research
with
by
Handler?
Brightline Watch has found that less than 5% condone violent felonies to achieve political...
Which one was Handler? Is that the one that was a troll earlier? I don't even know why they just got blocked. Who are they? I don't see them have made a comment recently. Yeah, let's just keep them around. Let's just, Okay, so that's the one that was throwing those stupid comments out again. Yeah, 11 days, that's usually a troll at that point.
Political goals, with little difference between parties. 296. Furthermore, individuals tend to significantly overestimate approval of violence within the other party and are less likely to support it themselves when informed of the actual statistics. 297. The day after the shooting, a YouGov poll asked if it was acceptable to be happy at the death of a public figure. 56% said it was never acceptable, 22% said it was usually unacceptable, 6% said it was usually acceptable, and 3% said it was always acceptable. Republicans were more likely than Democrats and independents to say that it was always rather than usually unacceptable. 298, 299, in a September 14 poll, 51% said that the person who assassinated Kirk was driven by political beliefs, including 63% of Republican, 44% of Democrats, and 46% independents. 40% of respondents were not sure of the political affiliations of the killer. 24% said they believed he was a Republican, 41% of Democrats and 13% of Republicans. 21% a Democrat, 40% of Republicans, and 8% of Democrats, and 15% affiliated with neither. A September 19 Associated Press Norrick Center for Public Affairs research poll found a surge in negative sentiment amongst Republican voters in the aftermath of Kirk's assassination. Just 49% of Republican voters said they felt the country was headed in the right direction, compared to the previous June 2025 survey, in which 70% of respondents who identify as Republican said the country is heading in the right direction. The same poll found 8% of Democrats said the country is moving in the right direction, down from 12% in June, and 14% of independents, down from 23% in the June poll. Following Kirk's death, a mural and memorial site were set up on the Utah Valley University campus, close to the site of the shooting.
It's right there.
64 candlelight vigils, mostly but not exclusively, organized by Turning Point, took place in various cities across the United States. 303 similar vigils were also held in Albania, 304, Australia, 305, Canada,
right
307, 308, Italy, 310, Spain, 309,
Right
South
there is where the
Africa,
memorial was.
308, South Korea, 311, and the United Kingdom, 305, 312. Several online fundraisers were set up in Kirk's name to honor his legacy and provide financial support for his family. By September 14th, the different fundraisers had received donations of over $6 million. 313. Misinformation and conspiracy theories. A lack of initial information sparked mass speculation about the killing. 314 misinformation about the suspect was also widely shared on social media by both the political left and right, including a doctored photo of him wearing a pro-Trump shirt and false claims he was a registered Republican, had donated to Trump's campaign, or was a registered member of the Democratic Socialists of America. 316 China, Iran, and Russia spread disinformation using social media bots to inflame divisions and promote their foreign policy objectives. 258 artificial intelligence tools such as Grok, Perplexity AI, and AI overviews also disseminated misinformation. Hours after the shooting, conservative media and commentators began speculating that the shooter was transgender because Kirk was in the middle of answering a question about transgender people when he...
And they were almost right. He's a gay guy who's dating a transgender. So it's the same reason.
He was shot. 320 further, the New York Times noted that this was a grim coincidence that has fed into online conspiracies and speculation. And Hunter Kozak, who asked Kirk the question, later said, "I couldn't have asked a worse question."
I mean, it was, I guess the part that he's saying, what they're saying here is that because the question was asked, there was online speculation that the shooter was transgender. It turned out to be, I guess almost right. I mean, the guy's dating one and he's gay himself. But the part about the question being asked and then the shot. I mean, that is pretty crazy. But the thing is during Charlie Kirk events, there's a lot of transgender questions. So there was if you have 3 people asking questions, one of them might be somebody that asked that question. So who the hell knows? It is pretty crazy, though, you got to admit.
Question 321. Kirk himself had been a strong proponent of the idea that there was a prevalence of transgender mass shooters, despite this not being the case, as shown by multiple statistical analyses. Clarification needed. 300. Following the publication of alleged text messages between Robinson and his partner in the September 16 indictment, observers on both sides of the political spectrum expressed serious doubts about their authenticity. Conspiracy theory experts, such as Joseph Usinski, called those contentions into question, and criminal law expert Stephen B. Duke stated, "There is nothing in those messages making it even plausible that they were written by law enforcement."
Yeah, the thing is there's been more mass shootings by transgenders lately, right? So maybe over time you can't say that there's more, but if you went and said in the last 15 mass shootings, that's probably a pretty big percentage.
Enforcement. 323. Early reporting, notably in the Wall Street Journal, falsely said that following the publication of alleged text messages between Robinson and his partner in the September 16 indictment, observers on both sides of the political spectrum expressed serious doubts about their authenticity. Conspiracy theory experts, such as Joseph Usinski, called those contentions into question, and criminal law expert Stephen B. Duke stated, "There is nothing in those messages making it even plausible that they were written by law enforcement."
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that one, actually. I think it's possible, though, that Twigs sort of changed what they would have said. I mean, I don't really know. It's kind of strange. Even that part is, like, wouldn't Tyler have caught on to the fact that Twigs was trying to separate themselves, or they, whatever the hell you want to.
Early reporting, notably in the Wall Street Journal, falsely said that the inscriptions on the bullets were found as having messaging related to transgender ideology, citing what they claimed was an internal bulletin of the ATF.
She's crazy, that's why.
324.
Stupid.
These reports were met with calls for caution.
Yes, everybody, Candace Owens today has now said that Britney Spears, Kanye West, and everybody is part of a conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk. There's a connection there. There's a connection between them all. She saw it in a dream, everybody. She saw it, man, that he was betrayed. And now Britney Spears and this family, my God, these people are nuts, okay? But you know what? Hey, who doesn't like a good conspiracy?
Caution from trans journalists, who said that transgender ideology was a term commonly used in right-wing circles to frame transgender identity as a political choice. And the New York Times reported that a senior law enforcement official with knowledge of the case said that the alleged bulletin had not been verified, and that it did not match other summaries of evidence. However, prominent conservative figures still seized on the Wall Street Journal's report to call for further action against the trans community, including banning pride flags and incarcerating all transgender people en masse.
No,
324, 325. When the details of the actual messages, which did not contain any such references, were made public, the Human Rights Campaign published an open letter demanding a retraction and a public apology for publishing of the misinformation, saying, "This reporting was reckless and irresponsible, and it led to a wave of threats against the trans community from right-wing influencers, and a resulting wave of terror for a community that is already living in fear." 324, 326.
Serta?
The Wall Street Journal later amended the story with a note from the editor, but did not issue a retraction. 327, 328. More transgender conspiracy theories were spread after it was reported that the suspected shooter had a transgender partner, with some speculating that Robinson may have been motivated to kill Kirk because of Kirk's views and rhetoric on transgender people. J.C. Thornton, an executive director of the LGBTQ advocacy group Rainbow Utah, noted, "It sounds like they're really stretching to find a way to tie this into the trans community," adding that this is very harmful to this ongoing dialogue that's happening, especially on social media.
The transgender individuals associated with him were the ones that were typing in. They seemed to have knew beforehand that this was going to take place.
Media. 102.1, 107. This theorizing was further amplified by the timing of the Charlie Kirk assassination, which occurred just 2 weeks after a transgender individual shot and killed 2 children and wounded 21 others at Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis on August 27th, 2025.
Right.
It was speculated by social media users that one of the inscriptions found on the bullets could be a reference to the far-right Groyper culture. 82, based in part on the adversarial stance that the Groypers had towards Kirk, such as during their 2019 heckling campaign. 331 Axios described these speculations as baseless. 332 Groyper leader Nick Fuentes also rejected the speculation, stating that his followers were being framed. Numerous conspiracy theories about the assassination were posted online.
This is a total bullshit.
333 political consultant Roger Stone said the attack appeared to have been a professional hit either by a nation-state, rogue elements of our own government, or a terrorist organization. 314 one theory promulgated on people standing near Kirk, who were purported to have made unusual gestures before he was killed. 314 several senior Russian officials, including former President Dmitry Medvedev and Kremlin Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev, speculated on social media about a connection between Kirk's killing and United States support for Ukraine, because Kirk had been a critic of Western financial and political support for Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. 335. In the days immediately following Kirk's assassination, conspiracy theories emerged about the involvement of Israel. Many sources, including Israeli media, have stated that these theories are rooted in anti-Semitism. 337 attempted to link the event to the Israeli Mossad and to Kirk's comments about the Epstein files. 337 and Maram Suzli resurfaced an August 2025 post by an InfoWars host who stated that Kirk believed against them.
Worse than this.
338. Tucker Carlson was accused by some pro-Israel groups in the United States of making anti-Semitic comments at the service for Kirk by suggesting he supported the conspiracy theory that Jews or Israel were responsible for the assassination. Carlson said that Kirk's assassination reminded him of the death of Jesus Christ, whom he said was killed by powerful people for telling the truth. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the theories, calling them insane and issuing multiple video messages claiming no Israeli government involvement in the assassination, though this did little to quell the alt-right's conspiracy theories. 337, 342, 300. On October 6, right-wing commentator Candace Owens revealed private WhatsApp group messages where Kirk claimed to have no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause due to having lost $2 million from a Jewish donor over his refusal to condemn Tucker Carlson. 345, a day later, Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Colvett published a video confirming the authenticity of the leaked text messages. 347 needs update.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, totally biased. I hadn't read any of it. I just wanted to see it, but I knew it was going to be like that. Yeah, a lot of errors in there. I mean, obviously, the people that write these things are... the only things in here that, if they're not political, they're probably legit. They're just somebody putting out research on, a description of something. What do you mean you can't hear me? Hello? Well, my volume is lower because I'm talking this loud. You see that? If I'm talking over here, you don't need to turn it up. Just leave it where it was. Hey, let's see if we can get 4 more channel memberships real quick. That'll get us to 80 again, like yesterday. That'd be pretty sweet. And then what we'll do after that, after we get those 4, that's the goal. We get the 4 channel memberships. And then we're going to do a members-only live stream with, and we're going to play, it's only like 15 minutes long, the Uber driver interview. And then I'll put a video out with it tomorrow. How's that? But the members, you get to hear it first in the Idaho 4 case. All right, we going to do it? Yeah, of course, George is really loud. Yeah, it's just loud. I mean, it's like blows out the speakers. You should turn it, if you're turning it down because of George, when I come back on, it's low. Hey, there's one right there. Lisa Valenzuela, 3 more now. Got Nader Bader, Lisa Valenzuela. We got to do a spin here real quick. You hit the dollar sign at the bottom. I don't know how to donate, but give me a membership. That's hilarious. Yeah, people, when they donate memberships, we can't choose who to give a membership to. It's just who's ever made themselves available. Yep, 3 more, and then we'll do the members only. Or maybe we'll just go there now and hope, I guess. Has Gray discussed Tucker's 34-minute crazy show on his new... When was the show? Today, or... What do you mean his new Tucker Carlson network? Where's that? On YouTube, or where? Where is that? Oh, come on, Chris O'Connell. You've already been too generous tonight. And thanks for everybody. You know, there's people out there that are always, I mean, making it happen. All right, I'm going to give out 2... what do you call it? The 2 notebook things. Now, if you don't want one, if you've already won and you don't want it, then you can go ahead and, you know, just say spin again, you know. All right, so there it is, right there. There we go. Let's shuffle it. All right, let me get that off the screen there. Thank you, Chris O'Connell. All right, ready? Here we go. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. We're going to give out 2 of them. I was playing a game with... Oh, well, good. I'm glad you played that game. Hey, you just won. All right, so you got to send me your address on an email, and then I'll send it to you. I was trying to get like 10. So I've got a list. Some of them are from a while ago, but on Crooks Today. I don't know. Where's the show that you're talking about, though? I don't know. I'm not a fan of Tucker. I didn't even like him before that much. I don't know why. It just sort of... He seems... You know what I don't like is that he seems... Like, he used to be so harsh on Trump all the time. You know? Even after Trump won and then he lost and then he was hard on him. And then when he saw the winds changing, he switches over. And he always says stuff like, yeah, I mean, he says something that's absolute opinion with the phraseology of, that's just the truth. That's the truth. And it's not, Tucker. You're just giving an opinion. All right, let's shuffle again here. One more spin. Hey, Alley Cake, do you have a notebook? Are you out there, Alley Cake? Yeah, I'm glad there's some ads playing at least. Oh, look at that. It's Lisa Belson again. Are you out there, Lisa Belson? Do you want a second notebook or do you want to respin? I don't know if you're still watching, but... oh, she might have went to sleep. Well, I'll tell you what. If she watches later and she wants another one, we'll do it. But I'll spin again. All right, so here we go. And look at that. Alley Cake wins. Yeah! Boom! All right, Alley Cake. Send me your address. We're sending that over. All right. Very cool. Awesome. That was pretty crazy. It landed on that one. I was just like, hey, Alley Cake, do you want one? And then there it is. Alley Cake is all eat cake. Yeah, so anyways, you got to send it. All right, so now I'm going to let's see, if I hit this, is this how it works? Membership only live stream. All. You know, I should start doing these where it's Oogla Boogla Freaks and higher. You know? But I won't currently. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, so thank you in the 5 minutes to Dixie Hippie, Ali Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, Chris Stew membership, Dixie Hippie, then Ali Cake gifted 5, then C Daily, then Ragin Cajun, Michelle, Nunez 69, DDW, Plebes. These are all the at names, so. At Dixie Hippie, Wild Bill Wassman gifted 5, so did Dixie Hippie. Then Heather, Alley Cake gifted 5, C Daily, then Bruce Holdaway, new member. He upgraded to Megazoid. Wow, thanks, Bruce. And then Alley Cake gifted 5, then Lisa Belson gifted 10. Then Lisa Belson gifted 10 again, and then Chris O'Connell gifted 10, and then Dixie Hippie, then Christine Y gifted 5, then Chris O'Connell gifted 5 again, and then Hilson House of Crazy gifted 5, and then Chris O'Connell gifted a cat eye donation, and then Chris O'Connell again, and then Nader Bader and Lisa Valenzuela, and then Chris O'Connell again. Man, you guys are so generous. I mean, I feel really fortunate. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, it just switches you over. It's crazy. It'll actually create a whole new live stream. Yeah, I think you can just sit here. Let's see how it works. I feel like, again, like we're on the Seinfeld when they're driving down the highway with a tank of gas, just seeing when it runs out. Don't you guys have a timer somewhere? Oh, there it is. 3:01. 2:59, 58, 57. I see it at the top of the screen there. I wonder if I could even... that wouldn't work. Wait, does that work? Before it leaves, let me see if I can do it. Plus... let's see. Window capture. Alright, this would be the time remaining. Chrome... Is that? No. That's not it. How about this one? Wheel? I don't know. That's not it. What's this one called here? YouTube Studio Live Chat. Hold on. I don't have it. It's not there. YouTube Studio. Is it this one? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. How much time do I have left? Can I do this? So right there. And then right here. And then right there. Look at that. Look, I got a little, really blurry little clock. Isn't that cool? There it is. There's the countdown. Maybe I'll have that on the screen when I do this. Yeah, so it's at the top of the chat window. You should be able to see it. Well, that's because you're on a delay, that's why. That'll show, that right there would show you exactly what our delay is, Zozo. Yeah. So on your end, you should see my... Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, right now it's 39 seconds. So you tell me what it said when you saw that, when you heard that. Right, that... Well, it can't say less seconds. All right, anyways. Upper left of chat is white, 30 seconds. Yeah, maybe you guys get sent over before me or something. I don't know. Mine says 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Hurry up and join, you guys. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep.